before and after. Love, love, love gives you courage, fills your heart. It's the best thing you can go wrong with, 'cause it's eternal and it has no end. So stand on up for full dimensional love. It's our shelter now and always. Love before and after. Love, love, love gives you courage, mends your heart. It's the best thing you can go wrong with, 'cause it's eternal and it has no end. So stand on up for full dimensional love. It's our shelter now and always, before and after. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. We're gonna meditate on the word love. Love, 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 love.
We're good.
Bring it down, Dad. Bring it down. So as you come into the room, please remember to mute your mics. And we want to center you in this vibration of love this morning. Love, 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 love. Feel that love, 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 love. Feel the love in the room this morning. We have nothing but love for you, yeah. Feel the love in the room this morning. We have nothing but love for you, yeah. Love, it's our shelter now and always. Love before and after. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love.
Ah, that was beautiful, Jackie and Danielle. So beautiful. Love, love, love. So welcome to the Center for Conscious Living, and please repeat after me. Open my heart to the universe, accepting love and healing. I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and joy. I open my heart to the universe, accepting love and peace. We are so grateful for you to join us here at the Center for Conscious Living. I'm Reverend Michael, and I'll be your MC service minister today. We have a beautiful service today, and if you heard the music from Jackie and Danielle, which is so beautiful and uplifting, and we're so grateful for you to join us. We have our wonderful speaker today, Reverend Ken Davis, so I'm just delighted that he's joined us. He'll do our talk for today. So many wonderful, beautiful faces just to see on Zoom. Our pastoral support is our Reverend Paul, and he'll be putting stuff into the chat room, which will be, you can look to the chat room for any information you may need. We have Reverend Christina, who'll be our third practitioner, who'll be holding consciousness for us. which is beautiful and so necessary. Holding consciousness is knowing the truth for all of us during this service. And we are so blessed because we have practitioners around the room. And if there's anything you want to get rid of or let go of, let it go. And just come present as you can be for this beautiful service, and bring your heart. There is a reaction of hearts. So bring your heart present as well. And our first practitioner, who will also be doing our invocation, is our wonderful, inspirational Reverend Sue Locke. We're so delighted for her to join us, and she'll start us off with this morning's invocation.
Good morning, happy Sunday. A little verse from Rudy Francisco. No matter what you ask the daffodil, it will still wait until spring to bloom. From this, I've learned that we all open up when the time is right. And so in this moment, in this time, let's just take a breath together. A deep breath, and just breathe in love. Breathe in the joy of being a part of this beautiful spiritual community. That in this open-hearted room that we all gather in right now, we have come together by divine invitation. We are all part of this family, coming together to praise and give thanks, to reach out and see the smiles, to feel the heart love, to send healing energies to whomever may need it, be it a spiritual healing, a mental healing, a physical healing. For each member of our family is divine. And we know in this moment that every cell of each of our beings is God in motion. And that energy is profound. It is who we are. And as we come together to hear the beautifully inspired and uplifting message of Reverend Ken, I know that the untold miracles are unfolding in this moment for each of us. For that is how the universe operates, continually blessing us, continually offering Spirit's incredible and divine guidance and love and profound and glorious energies for each of us. Knowing today this service is already divine in nature, I know perfection is unfolding even as I speak, and I am so happy for the blessing of being in the presence of each one of you. And so for this and so much more, I just say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is.
And so it is. Beautiful. Now we'll be blessed once again with the beautiful music of Jackie and Dale.
Dale.
You okay? I think it's a beautiful thing how it's written, but Dale works. Thank you.
You've been renamed 3 times, Dale. It's all good. It's all good. She knows her name. Thank you so much for that, Reverend Sue. Can I just do something real quick? Because we are in a sacred space. And so there are a couple of people whose mics are still open. Mia's iPad, your mic is open. I only say that because, if your mic is open, sometimes it'll give us some feedback, and that kind of, yanks us out of our sacred space. So Mia, if you could mute your iPad, that would be very helpful. So thank you. So just piggybacking on what Reverend Sue started us with, we just want to say thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. All right. Okay. Ain't nothing I can do. Said I want to say thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This wonderful, this wonderful, this wonderful day. This wonderful, this wonderful, this wonderful day. Said I want to say thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Said I want to say thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Said I want to say thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. Thank you for my life, Spirit. Thank you for my life. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful life. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful life. Said I want to say thank you for my job, Spirit. Thank you for my job. Thank you for my job, Spirit. Thank you for my job. My fabulous, my fabulous, my fabulous job. My fabulous, my fabulous, my fabulous job. Said I want to say thank you for my health. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful health. Wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful health. Said I want to say thank you. Oh, thank you. I want to say thank you. Ooh, thank you. I'm so grateful. From the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, I want to say thank you. Ooh, thank you. I want to say thank you. Y'all don't hear me. I want to say thank you. That's what we used to say back in the country church. Y'all don't hear me. I want to say thank you. Whoa, yeah. I want to say thank you. Oh, yes, I do. I want to say thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, it's a healing, it's a healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day.
Oh, that was beautiful. I had to mute myself because I was singing so loud. Thank you, Jackie and Dale. And for today's inspirational reading, we have our own Reverend Sue once again.
Oh, thank you, Jackie and Gail. That was perfect. That was perfect. Today's reading is from A Gift of Peace. It's a selection of small snippets from the Course in Miracles. Beautiful. There is a place in you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. Your mind is the means by which you determine your own condition, because mind is the mechanism of decision. You must learn to change your mind about your mind. The world is nothing in itself. Your mind must give it meaning. You want to be happy. You want peace. You do not have them now because your mind is totally undisciplined. Try to identify with the part of your mind where stillness and peace reign forever. Merely rest, alert but with no strain, and let your mind in quietness be changed so that the world is freed along with you. The mind, which means that all it wants is peace, must join with other minds, for that is how peace is obtained. And when the wish for peace is genuine, that means for finding it is given. It is given in the form of each mind that seeks for it in honesty and can understand. Alone we can do nothing, but together our minds fuse into something whose power is far beyond the power of its separate parts. There is a place for you where there is perfect peace. There is a place in you where nothing is impossible. So it is. And now if you'll go to the chat, and we'll say our affirmation together. In celebration of the magnificent divine, I honor my own and all others' individualized God self. Behold the presence and beauty of the artistry of God. We are incredibly blessed. So let's all just say together, yes, yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And thank you, Reverend Sue, and beautiful, beautiful reading as well. And peace is such a grace for all of us. I have a wonderful opportunity to introduce our guest speaker, Reverend Ken Davis. Now, I've known him as long as I've been at the Center for Conscious Living, and it appears we have joined this at the very same time. He's certainly known for doing the Course in Miracle work with so many of us, and he's done sound with us and the recording of sound. One thing I know about Ken is any conversation I had and any time engaged in talk or anything, that he truly walks the talk. He's a very gracious human being. He's humbled, because I can even see his reaction to what I'm saying. He's a very humbled, but a incredibly capable person. His bio was just so incredible. And he's a life coach, and he does so much beautiful work with A Course in Miracles. And we are so blessed to have him as part of our community, and doubly blessed for today that he'll be our guest speaker. So Reverend Ken, thank you for this day.
Thank you, Reverend. How long do I have?
25 minutes?
Way too much.
All right.
Well, hello, CCL. I greet you in the name of God, pure, unlimited spirit, perfect love, oneness. You know, I have to really thank you all for deciding to join us this morning. You may or may not have read the title for today's talk. It is Empathy and Race Today. I mean, I met some people that would attend CCL, but if they heard that was the title, they would probably just eat late breakfast, you know. But here we are, and I appreciate you being here. Most of the time, our lessons are uplifting, they're feel-good fellowship, but this is not that talk today. This talk, I promise to give you some tools for carrying peace from here to the next service, or hopefully further. That your peace is not simply a mountaintop experience. That's my goal here. Of course, anyone who knows the nature of the Course knows that's what the Course is about. And all spiritual practice ultimately is about that. Boy, I feel a little like Victor Borge here, you know. Victor Borge is an old-time piano player, but he was kind of a comedian. And there would be a stage and there'd be a piano chair, and he'd walk in and bow and go to both sides of the stage and bow. And he was a classically trained pianist, played beautifully. He would sit down and he would tuck the tail of his tux in, and he'd look back behind him and say, "Pardon my back." And then he'd get set ready, and then he'd raise his fingers to the piano, and he'd stop and he'd look up and say, "Oh, sorry, pardon my front." And then he'd get ready to play and he'd yell, well, that's just the way I'm built. And so then we knew what we were in for that day. Most of you know that I'm a life coach, even before Michael explained it to you. I'm a life coach who coaches out the principles of A Course in Miracles and a thing called energy leadership, which work very well together. For those of you that don't know, A Course in Miracles is about a mental framework, an attitude, a mind training. It is not like a mountainside meditation in an ashram, but a day-to-day interaction with life that's life-changing. And it's primarily done, the life-changing part of it is primarily done with people. And what I want to talk to you about today about the Course, it shines a light on this thing that I call otherizing. It's a mental process of otherizing. It's kind of the way we're built, you know? We otherize all the time. And it causes problems that I'll talk about. I am what you call an anti-otherizing minister. Now, the positive way to say that in the long run is to say, it's not that I'm against or anti-otherizing. I'm basically for oneness mindedness, which is kind of a big word, oneness mindedness. And we'll get some sense of what I mean by that. But I want to introduce something to you that's very important in the Course. That's kind of the guiding light for my talk today. It is from the workbook of the Course in Miracles. And it's repeated throughout the workbook, but I think the first time we see this whole phrase is in workbook lesson 21. Or did I explain the Course in Miracles to you? It's basically three main parts: the text, the workbook, and the manual for teachers. There's other pamphlets that go with it, but those are the main things. The workbook is a way of setting your mind every day to change your sense of what the day looks like and how to interpret it. And this becomes mind training, okay? So the very first time this phrase shows up is in lesson 201. It is one of my favorite, and in the end, one of the most powerful phrases that I've discovered in the Course. It's very simple, and I'm going to ask you to repeat it after me. First, I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to go through it phrase by phrase for you. The phrase is, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Now you can mute or unmute, but I'd like you to say that after me. And occasionally I ask you to repeat that for the sake of getting the point of my talk. Let's start. I am not a body. I am free. For I am still
I am still
as God created me.
as God
As
created
God
me.
created me.
Now, if you can remember that, the importance of that phrase will get deeper and deeper and more significant for you. So if I'm not a body, well, then what am I? We'll get to that. Right now, just remember, I'm not a body. I am free, for I'm still as God created me. Just remember that. Keep that in mind. I want to tell you about a story of a kid living in the South, deep South, almost Florida. That's how South. And he was standing in the parking lot, minding his business, talking to a couple of his friends from across the way. And a car full of kids, other kids, drove by yelling, "Look at the Negroes, look at the Negroes, look at the Negroes." Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can guarantee you the word they used was not Negro. I need not repeat it here. That you probably guess that kid was me. At the time, I did not fully understand the meaning of what happened then. But before I go on, I want you to make note of the feeling you get in your gut when you hear that story. True story, by the way. Compassion, sympathy, empathy. So let's go back to that kid and the meaning that that incident had for that kid. I mentioned to you about this term otherizing. It's something that human beings do quite naturally. It's something we actually have to manage in our thinking, because this world is a great teacher of otherizing. Our chemistry, our internal physical chemistry leads us to otherize. Did you know serotonin, the feel-good chemical, is also one of the primary components in the mentality of otherizing? Did you know that? Well, it is. So in many ways, it's how your body works. So there I was standing in the parking lot. And the first thing that happened for me was that I began to otherize myself. Now, let me just give you a picture of what otherizing yourself means. It's a self-destructive mode of thinking that goes something like this: I must deserve the bad thing that's happening to me right now. Otherizing myself leads me to think like this. I heard on the news the other night, they didn't have cell phones where they were taking pictures of the incident, that a person of color, a person that seems to have a dark skinned body, was apprehended for passing a $20 bill as a phony $20 bill as a real bill, and unfortunately died in police custody. And there were no signs from the autopsy of a struggle or a beating. They don't know why he died. Now, that's what happens when you don't have cell phones, by the way. And everything about that is true except that they don't know how he died part. But when you read that in the news in those days, you think, well, he did something wrong. He must have deserved it. You hear about a man getting arrested and put in jail. You think, well, they must have done something wrong to have gotten arrested. Whatever it was, they shouldn't have done that. This is called otherizing yourself. When you don't know the blanks you fill in are against your case. That's the way it works. As I got older, I began to otherize those kids in the car. By this time, I was pretty sure of something. I was a body, and I was a dark-skinned body. And then there were these other bodies that were light-skinned body. I don't think I'm a body. I know I'm a body, and I know they're a body. And doggone it, I'm against their body, their idea of what is right about a body. Now, let me just explain. This is a very high consciousness compared to the first one where it is self-destructive. This is the otherizing where you become combatively, aggressively anti, or you can be passive aggressively combative. Either way, you're otherizing. Now, the power of turning that anger outward is that it's no longer self-destructive, but it's still destructive. And there are other problems with it as well that I'll get to. Then there was the Course in Miracles. From my interaction with the Course of Miracles, some things began to happen. It was a process. It took time. Otherizing in my mind was still going on.
I'm trying to stick with it, man. I don't think I can.
Let me give you another example of what happens when we otherize. We think that, in my case, well, you know, Ken, you were a quote unquote victim. Well, let me tell you something.
Hi.
Otherizing others makes you a victim too. Picture this. A cop on duty is an experienced trainer of other cops, but she works in a kind of slave catcher mentality on the police force. And I won't go into that. I think you understand what I'm saying. It is an
I really
otherizing.
don't understand what you're saying. Hi.
It is an otherizing mentality that she works in. It seeps into her. She doesn't even necessarily realize it has. And this mentality she brings to an incident where she pulls out her pistol, thinking it is a taser, and when the incident calls for the use of a taser, she uses the gun like a taser. Although there will be consequences to her actions were very human. That is what we humans do. Kim Potter, a 26-year department veteran of the Minnesota Police Department, killed a 20-year-old Dante Wright because the otherization of her environment superseded years of training and experience. A young man is dead. A woman and their family and this woman's career are shattered because she carried that otherizing disease that hides and waits and presents itself silently while we hold a gun instead of a taser. That's the poison of otherizing. And it seems to be destructive to the person you have otherized, but oh no, it is killing you too. So I mentioned to you the course started to allow me to move past my otherizing mentality. Remember that phrase I asked you to think about? I am not a body. I am free. For I am still as God created me. Thank you. You see the very nice technology. I began to reflect on that incident, the kids in the garage, in the parking lot, me standing there. And I realized that they were bound into that same sickness in that moment that I was of otherizing. They were like me, humans, bound into a common human mental sickness. That's all they were. Back in that moment, we were all bodies. I was a body in their mind and my own. They were bodies in my mind and their own. They thought they were white bodies. And I was the other non-white body. We were all otherizing. I was their brother in sickness. I'm connected to them. It's not necessary for me to forgive that behavior. It's like forgiving my right hand for striking my left. But I'll get to that. So the whole experience now meant, or now means, something completely different to me than it did. I see myself as integrally connected to that, to those group of kids in that car. Not their victim, but in a teaching moment, I joined with them in a different place than the body. So if you look at it, you probably already know this. This idea of letting go of otherizing is not new in the religions of the world. Probably started with the Golden Rule. Do you know what started the Golden Rule? Well, I'll tell you, it was Confucius. Yeah, he beat Christ to that one. We all know about the power of compassion, right? We know it's good. It's good for us, right? In May 2001, this is just before the World Trade Center crash. I remember reading this article, but the news of the day quickly, pushed it under my consciousness. In May 2001, in a laboratory in the University of Wisconsin, a Tibetan Buddhist monk donned a cap studded with hundreds of sensors that were connected to a state-of-the-art EEG, a brain scanning device capable of recording changes in his brain with speed and precision. When the monk began meditating in a way that was designed to generate compassion, the sensors registered a dramatic shift in the state to a state of great joy. The very act of concerning for others' well-being, it seems, creates a greater state of well-being within one's self. No surprise there. That's from Emotional Intelligence by an author, Mr. Goldman. The problem here is this idea of compassion. Remember, I told you otherizing is kind of built into the human condition. This is an example of how sticky it is. In a classic series of studies, psychologists ask some subjects how much money. Let me tell you, I'm just going to warn you now. Compassion isn't what you think it is. It leads to some very bad thinking. Sacre bleu. Yes, bad thinking. In a classic series of studies, psychologists asked some subjects how much money they would give to help develop a drug that would save the life of one child, and asked others how much they would give to save 8 children. People would give roughly the same in both cases. But when a third group of subjects was told the child's name and shown his picture, donations shot up. Now, there were greater donations to the 1 than to the 8. Compassion is a spotlight. So, studies show that Nazi soldiers during World War II didn't fight for their ideology. They felt out of a sense of empathy with their fellow soldiers. So the Americans. We identify, this is a quote from a book called Humankind, A Hopeful History by Rutger Bregman. We identify with victims. The more we generalize about our enemies, the more we identify with victims, the more we generalize with our enemies. The bright light we shine on our chosen few make us blind to the perspective of others, our adversaries. The sad truth is that empathy and xenophobia go hand in hand. So, what do we do? Because what I seem to be saying is that compassion as we know it can have results that are disastrous as overt racism, xenophobia, misogynism. Let's take another look at compassion. We'll need to redefine it for it to be useful. In the course, the use of the term true empathy, and I'll go through this quickly because I want to share with you several books on this subject. The Course in Miracles uses the term true empathy. Remember that term? I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. I am pure spirit, says the Course. And that's an abstraction that my mind needs to be trained to fully embrace and identify with. That's why every day, A Course in Miracles gives you something to think about in the workbook about that day, an attitude, a perspective that you take into the day that trains you in oneness mindedness. We're all saturated, thoroughly saturated in an otherizing environment. Forgiveness of others in the highest sense is the mind training in practice that gets us to rethink who and what we are and who and what the other person is. But to practice true empathy is to operate as though there is a connection between who would be normally considered in opposition. Those white kids that thought they were white kids that drove by a young Black man that thought he was a Black body. I see them as my brothers at that moment, trapped in the same humanness and lost in it as I was. My desire for them is that they've escaped that box as I had. I'm holding that truth for them that they have. I'm gonna read something from a book called Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent. What is called for is a radical kind of empathy. Empathy is not sympathy. Sympathy is looking across at someone and feeling sorry, often in times of loss. Empathy is not pity. Pity is looking down from above and feeling a distant sadness for another in their misfortunes. Empathy is commonly viewed as putting yourself in someone else's shoes and imagining how they would feel, how you would feel. And that can be seen as a start, but that is little more than role playing. It is not enough in the ruptured world we live in. Radical empathy, on the other hand, means putting in the work to educate oneself and to listen with a humble heart to understand another's experience from their perspective, not as we imagine we would feel. Radical empathy, on the other hand, means putting in the work to educate oneself and to listen with a humble heart. A humble heart. To understand another's experience from their perspective. Radical empathy is not about you and what you think you would do in a situation you have never been in and perhaps never will be. It is the kindred connection from a place of deep knowing that opens your spirit to the pain of another as they perceive it. Empathy is no substitute for the experience itself. We do not get to tell a person with a broken leg or a bullet wound that they are not in pain. And people who hit the caste lottery, and that's what her book is about, not racism, but caste. People that hit the caste lottery are not in a position to tell a person who is suffering under the tyranny of caste what is offensive or hurtful or demeaning to those at the bottom. The price of privilege is the moral duty to act when one sees another person treated unfairly. And the least that a person in the dominant caste can do is not make the pain any worse. Well, how do we educate ourselves? What do we do? How do we start? What can be done? How do we deal with this very human problem that the caste system, the otherizing system of caste has brought to these shores and still exist in these shores. We can begin with reading. I recommend several books. 12 Steps to a Compassionate Life, Karen Armstrong. I recommend The Course in Miracles. I recommend a book called Caste, The Origins of Our Discontent by Isabel Wilkerson. I recommend a book, Mankind, A Hopeful History by Rutger Bregman. I recommend Energy Leadership, Transforming Your Workplace and Your Life from the Core by Bruce Snyder. You can email me if you want that list again, ken@kendaviscoaching.com. But you can start with 12 Steps to a Compassionate Life by Karen Armstrong. The first 3 steps she lists are learn about compassion, which you have just begun, presumably. Second step is look at your own world. Take a close look. And the third step is develop compassion for yourself. And that takes practice. And clearly, I'm not talking about the otherizing compassion. Clearly, I'm not talking about that. You know, remember the Buddhist monks? And I'm going to close with this. The Buddhist monks that I mentioned to you that had this change of mind, their shift in mentality that was registered on those instruments was basic prayer for them, but for us would be difficult because it required years of practice to get where they were. It is a prayer on the 4 immeasurables. The 4 immeasurables require, now get this, successfully navigating the idea that across this planet, you extend love to everyone. When you're done with that, when you're good at that, at the same time, you must extend compassion. These two are not the same thing. When you've completed that task and you become very good at that, your desire for everyone's joy is your task. And at the end of that, the final task, while holding the other 3, to see everyone and everyone equally as blessed and included. Now, I am talking about the whole world, ladies and gentlemen. But that's the prayer, that's the meditation, and that's what changes their mind. You can do that, or maybe take a look at these 4 books I mentioned. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Reverend Ken. Beautiful message. So many messages within that message as well. Reverend Paul, would you lead us in an offertory blessing, please?
If you will join with me in the offertory blessing, it's in the chat. Thank you, God, for this abundance that is mine to share. I bless this gift and give it to thee in gratitude and joy, knowing that as I give, I do receive.
We have music by Jackie and Dale.
Thank you.
Guess I better turn the camera on. Thank you, Reverend Ken. That was so inspiring and so wonderful. Thank you. And the song we're going to do is called I Thank You by Ricky Byers. And
I thank you for being so real and touching me, letting me see what a beautiful world this world is. And I thank you for all that's really real, for your changing me, opening my time blinded eyes to see my glorious possibility. Maybe it's true, some folks can't see just what's going on. They need the proof that a beautiful world this world is. But I thank you for showing the way and setting them free, opening their time blinded eyes to see a wonderful reality. Oh, and I pray for strength to keep seeing just like this. Oh, and I can say yes and move out the way and give my God its full sway. Oh, I thank you for being so real and changing me, opening my time blinded eyes to see my wonderful reality. thank you, I thank you. Ooh, yeah. Oh, and I pray for strength to keep seeing just like this. Oh, then I can say yes and move out the way and give my God its full sway. Oh, I thank you for being so real, for you're changing me, opening my time blinded eyes, opening my time blinded eyes. God opens up my time blinded eyes to my glory is possibilities.
Oh my heavens. Incredible. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Dal. And once again, thank you, Reverend Ken. Beautiful, beautiful messages today in song. So let's just raise our hand and say together, thank you for the Center for Conscious Living. We are a heart-centered spiritual community. We open ourselves to each other with love. We recognize the perfection of God within each one of us. We celebrate the joyous beings that we are. We're all a radiant point of light, and we are blessed by each person's here's presence. Welcome home. And I'm just going to say this for all of us. The love of God enfolds me. The mind of God inspires me. The Spirit of God enlightens me. The power of God encircles me. I am in God and all is well. For I'm enthusiastic, excited, expectant, and at peace. And I raise my hand saying, I'm grateful God has heard you.
Grateful God has heard you.
One of you. I'm going to jump into announcements. I want to start off. We have a workshop. We have a special guest speaker on the 16th, and that's Reverend Jerry Troyer. And we have a workshop that will follow. It's all going to be done on Zoom. And the title of his workshop is In Search of Inner Peace, Being a Home in Muddy Waters. This is a new thought teaching us all that all is well and to stay positive and to see the good things in everything. Jerry is the president of Anton currently. Reverend Jerry is the president of Anton right now. We'll probably talk about more of this in the next coming weeks, but I'm just so excited we have a workshop. We're little steps, step by step, we're returning. And it really looks good, and there's a flyer and there's a worksheet that goes with the workshop, and it'll follow the service. You'll have time to take and have a lovely lunch and then join right in back with Zoom, and we'll have a beautiful workshop. Other announcements is we have classes that I would like to promote, and I think I saw Aji. Aji, you want to talk about your class? Here.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Wow. Well, this was not planned, but we also have the BIPOC Healing Circle today, which I'm so touched by Reverend Ken's talk that I think for anyone who joins us today at 12, we can unpack some of this wisdom and how it relates to our identities. So 12 to 1 today for people who identify as Black, Indigenous, or person of color. Please join us. So in addition to that, I'm going to be teaching a class, which also is very much connected to Reverend Ken's talk today, on the book Mindful of Race. And this book was written by a Buddhist teacher, a Black woman who is a longtime practitioner of Buddhism and also a leader in diversity and inclusion work. And so this book is really to deepen into regardless of what your racial identity is, this book is for everyone, people of color, white identifying, wherever you are in your identity. This book, the intention of the book and the class is to really touch those parts within ourselves, that otherness that may be within ourselves, and that we may be projecting out into the world, regardless of what our identities are, and help open our hearts and heal our hearts from this, which the author calls a disease of the heart, this separation consciousness that is rooted in the racial structures of our society. So this class, we're going to dive into some practices where we can do that. Again, all are welcome, and it will be starting on May 18th. It's a 5-week class, so hope you can join.
Thank you, Aji. We have another class starting on the 19th of May, and that's Vegan Startup Kit. It's facilitated by our very own Regina Di Barbaria, and she's one of our practitioners, and she also is our president of our board. And it's a vegan starting kit by Dr. Nelson Bernard, and I'll put that information in the chat room, in the chat box room. And then I want to go on and tell you real quickly what is coming up meeting-wise. On the 14th, we have Red Tent, and they'll be meeting at 7 p.m. And you can contact Kathy Miller or Renee Trellis for any more information. On the 19th is the men's group, and you can contact the CCL office. Aji already talked about the group meeting today, so that's perfect timing. Reverend Paul Hoyt and myself will continue to do prayers, which we call 3-minute miracles. And I'm putting all this information as we're talking in the chat box. And we'll do prayers right after this service up to noon. After noon, you can just call it into the office, and we'll definitely be happy to put it on our prayer list. Let's see. If you have not renewed your membership with the Center for Conscious Living, you can just send a text, an email to the office. Send an email to the office, not a text, and renew it. I would like to renew, and that would be beautiful for all of us.
Michael,
yes.
Course in Miracles meeting is tomorrow on Zoom.
And Reverend Ken, tell them.
Well, we have a Course in Miracles group here at CCL. I'm remiss in that I've not made it my business to make sure you knew that, but on the 2nd and 4th Monday at 7 o'clock on Zoom we meet instead of in person. And if you want the link, just send me an email. I'll put it in the chat, and so you can join us. You don't have to be someone who's actively studying a course, but someone who's interested, curious, wants to know, wants to grow. Or you could be a long time Course in Miracles meeting or a long time Course in Miracles student. It doesn't matter. All are welcome. And I'll put my email address in the chat again. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Ken. I'm so happy that you were able to share that as well in person or on Zoom. So I'm just delighted everybody that joined us today, and as a spiritual community, we can just renew and revitalize ourselves together. with uplifting messages, with beautiful music, just being able to see the face of each one of us, you know, that we are a spiritual community, that we care deeply for one another. And then just seeing each other is totally uplifts me for the week. And what a blessing message today. And as we move forward with the Center for Conscious Living, and hopefully we have your blessings and support. And if you want to communicate anything to Reverend Paul or myself, you have our numbers. Text it. So we're open to hearing it, and we definitely want to see our community grow and just prosper for each one of us, and just be a place where we do call it our Center for Conscious Living, our community. All right. And I want to thank also June and Marty, who did a beautiful Earth Day week, a movie, and then we had a meeting on Friday night. It was just so beautiful. And I'd love to see next week we do something even more next year. Listen to me, next week, next year. But you can honestly see how excited I am, and we can start. I'm just going to turn it over for beautiful music, and then we'll have Reverend Sue do our concluding prayer affirmation.
Thank you. So I'm always so not surprised, but grateful for how things come together. This song we're going to do kind of goes right into your message there, Reverend Ken. It's everyday people. No otherizations anymore. Yeah.
My first album.
Your first album, huh?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm right and I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song. The butcher, the baker, the drummer, and then makes no difference what group I'm in. 'Cause I'm everyday people. Yeah. Check it out now. See, there is a blue one who can't accept the green one, for living with the fat one, trying to be a skinny one. Different strokes for different folks. And so on and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Ooh, sha-sha. We gotta live together. I am no better, and neither are you. My own beliefs are in the truth. You love me, you hate me, you know me, and then you can't figure out the bag I'm in. 'Cause I'm everyday people. Yeah. There is a long hair that doesn't like the short hair, for being such a rich one that would not help the poor one. Different strokes for different folks. And so on and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Ooh, sha-sha. We gotta live together. There is a yellow one that won't accept the black one, that won't accept the red one, that won't accept the white one. Different strokes for different folks. And so on and so on, and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Ooh, sha-sha. I'm everyday people.
Thank you, Reverend Sue.
Everyday people. I'll hang out with you everyday people every day. Woo! And I just want to take a quick moment to shout out happy birthday to not only someone who's my dear friend, but someone who is an original practitioner, Lynn Scheider, a board member at CCL for many years, past president of the board, and just a wonderful being of light for all of us for these 30-something years. Lynn, happy birthday. I love it. So let's all say this together. Something wonderful is happening to me right now. It is this thing called life.
It is this
Life
thing called life.
Is in my body.
Life is in my
Life
body.
is in my
Body.
mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my feelings.
Life is in my
Life
feelings.
is in all of
Life
I
is in
receive
Life
it.
is in all my
I
activities.
share it.
I
receive
share it.
Share
I
it.
am it.
I am
I
it.
I am it.
And I accept it. I accept it just the way that it is.
Just
Thank you, love.
Accept it
Thank
just
you,
the way
life.
that it is.
Gifts. What do we all say? Yes.
Yes.
Woo!
Woo!
Thank you, Ken. Great job. Thank you so much.
Come on, y'all. Let's rock it on out of here. We're everyday people. We are. Come on, sing that with us. We are everyday people. Yeah, yeah. Come on. We gotta live together. 'Cause we got to live together. I'm everyday people. Yeah, yeah. I am everyday people. You know you are. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Woohoo!
Unmute yourself.
Bless you guys. Bye.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you so much, Dale.
Thank you, Ken. Brilliant.
Thank you, Ken.
Reverend.
You're
Ken.
welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you.
Brilliant, Reverend Ken.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thank
Jackie.
you, everybody.
Ken.
Thank you.
Have a
you
wonderful
all.
week.
Bye.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday, Lynn.
everybody.
Hi, Joanne. Hi, Cassandra. Reverend Cassandra.
Thank you. Hi.
Fabulous facilitating.
Hi, Mary Law.
Miss Sandy, are you still there?
Hi, Reverend
Chris
Al.
Sandy.
Huh? Hi, Supriya.
Thank you, Jackie.
Hi.
Thank you,
Hi.
Thank you, Reverend Ken, Reverend
Mary.
Michael, Reverend
Great to
Paul.
see everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful.
Happy
sparkling
birthday,
week.
Lynn.
Thank you.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you, Christina.
Next to us is Ken.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you, Reverend Ken.
Hi, Christina.
Everybody. Hello, Holly.
Hello. Hello, Judy, Supriya, Cassandra.
Hi, Jerry.
Jackie,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Jackie.
Ken,
Thank you, Jackie.
and you thought you would
Beautiful
need 25
music.
Weren't we
people.
here before? So beautiful. Love
Thanks,
you.
guys.
I ran over
Beautiful
time.
messages.
That's
Hey.
okay. It was
Yeah.
well worth it.
Hello, Sarah and Tim.
For that message, Ken.
Good.
Yeah.
Beautiful service. Thank you so much.
Hey, Sabria.
Thank you
Hi.
for joining us. Hello.
Knew when he started that story.
Hi, Reverend Al.
Hi. Good to see you.
Have a beautiful week.
Michael, I'm going to do prayer. Reverend Michael, I'm going to do prayer.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody.
So am I very soon, but I'll let you. I have to close the meeting, so.
So I just want to say, that, can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good, good. Anyhow, I just want to thank you all and the Reverend Ken, a meaningful piece of talk on one-mindedness. So I appreciate it, and everyone have a blessed day. Love you all.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Peace.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.
I thank you once again.
Ken, I loved
Thank
your
you,
talk.
Mia.
Very inspired. Thank you.
Thank you, fellow classmate.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so I think I'm going to officially do it. Thank you so much, Ken.
You're so welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Love to have you back again. So
Well, let me know.
we'll talk about it in the future.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you, brother.
You got it. My pleasure. Okay, I'm going to close the meeting. It's nothing personal, but I have to answer these prayer requests.
Okay. You got work to do?
Yeah, I
Talk
have
to you
work
later,
to
brother.
do. So many blessings to all of you, and thank you so much for joining us.